So you want to hear some terrifying news? When one of the most powerful people, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, continues to make public comments like this.
Our economy is strong overall and has made significant progress over the past 2 years toward achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices. Labor market conditions are solid, having cooled from their previously overheated state. Inflation has eased, and my FOMC colleagues and I have greater confidence that it is on a sustainable path back to 2%.
And if that nonsense isn't bad enough, he adds this absurd comment about people's savings rate.
Yeah, the savings rate too. So we think savings are now, there are more savings on people's balance sheet and the savings rate is higher. So that speaks of more kind of background that suggests that spending can continue.
So let's just summarize the absurdity of those comments. He not only thinks that the economy is doing well, but that we're all a lot richer than we originally thought because they somehow recalculated the public savings rate as being much higher than what they originally thought. I mean, honestly, how stupid does he think the public really is for him to spew out that kind of gaslighting garbage? Let me show you the true reality with some of these headlines coming up as to what's really going on out there. So take a look at this first image from the U.S. national debt clock. Take a look at that enormous number right inside the middle of that black strip. We are fast approaching $36 trillion in U.S. national debt, or you can see at the bottom over $100,000 for every single person in America. Or how about this? American student loan balance tops $1.6 trillion. Nearly half of borrowers haven't resumed payments. Or from the Wall Street Journal, food prices rose at fastest rate in 18 months in September. Or from Fox Business, car insurance premiums could skyrocket 50% in some states this year. Or from Watch Guru, U.S. housing, 99% of Americans cannot afford to buy a house. You see, that's the truth and reality of the situation, not the lies that are being fed to us by those in charge. And when it comes to the housing market, there's a big shift taking place that a lot of people are really not aware of, that in my opinion, over the next coming months and well into 2025, is where we're going to finally start to see more substantial price reductions on homes across the country. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your #1 real estate resource here in beautiful Las Vegas. Hey guys, a couple of real quick things before we dive into the video. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn the cold hard facts about the U.S. economy, the U.S. real estate market, and specifically the Las Vegas real estate market, then make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Number 2, if you happen to like the content in today's video, make sure to press that thumbs up like button, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number 3, if you are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, whether it's next month or next year, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. Let's dive into the rest of the video. So let's drill down more specifically into the red-hot housing market. Now, we all know that home prices across the entire country are outrageously high, but the tide is starting to shift, as you're about to see in this upcoming clip. All right, so let's take a look at this U.S. map graphic, because this is a very dramatic change in the housing inventory that has increased dramatically over the last year throughout the United States. Now, you can see at the very top, it says 1-year change in active housing inventory for sale, shift between September 2023 and September 2024. Now, the darker colored green states are the states that have had the largest amount of housing inventory increases in the past year, and the lighter colored states are showing the least amount of housing inventory increases. So let's do this. Let's start with the darkest colored states and show the #1 state for housing inventory increases is right down here, right where we're moving the arrow cursor, in Hawaii at 62%. The next highest right here is in Florida on the bottom right there at 59%. Just above that is the state of Georgia at 49%. Just above that in North Carolina is 48%. If we go to the Pacific Northwest, right up here in the northwest side in Washington, that's also 48%. Arizona is 45%. The state of California right here is 41%. And my home state right here in Nevada is up 39%, which is very dramatic because just a few months ago, this was in negative territory. So now if we go in the opposite direction, there are 3 states throughout the United States that really stand out in terms of not seeing any kind of housing inventory increases in the past year. If we go up here to the Northeast, right there, New York has had a 0% increase. And then if we go to the top of the country right here, North and South Dakota are at -1%. Those are the only states that have not really been in the positive territory in terms of seeing any kind of housing inventory increases. So other than these 3 states, the other 47 states are showing a dramatic increase in overall housing inventory. And this is the first sign to an overall changing real estate market. When housing inventory goes up 30, 40, 50% in a lot of these states, what follows after that are lower home prices because, again, there's a lot more people out of work. Interest rates are still mostly close to 7% for the average person, and home prices are still massively overinflated. And the dynamics are shifting, and what's going to happen now is as we see inventory increase like this, ultimately over the next few months and well into 2025, in my opinion, we're going to start to finally see those home price reductions through most of the country. So we can all see the sharp increases in housing inventory across the country, and that's definitely happening here as well in the Las Vegas real estate market. Take a look at this graphic right next to me. This is the housing inventory increase, and you can see it's steadily climbing over the last 6 months. In the lower left side, where that smaller red box is, we had about 3,200 homes for sale about 6 months ago, and then in the larger red box, you can see we now have over 5,200 homes for sale. That's over 2,000 homes added to the Las Vegas real estate market inventory, or a 65% increase. And when housing inventory increases like this, home prices finally start to come down, as I'm about to show you in a few examples coming up. All right, so let's drill down more specifically into the Las Vegas real estate market. Now, I happen to be on the popular real estate platform Zillow that most of you guys are familiar with because I want to show you 4 examples today of Las Vegas homes for sale, starting in the luxury category and then working down mostly to the median home price, which here in Las Vegas stands at about $475,000, because I want to show you these examples. And again, these are just a few of many examples that I find on platforms like Zillow, where there's so many price reductions now happening here in the Las Vegas real estate market. So let's start with this luxury home. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed for basically $2 million. It's a 4-bedroom, 5-bath, 4,100 square foot home. But again, I want to show you in the price history down below where this home price was originally compared to where it is right now. All right, so focus your attention down at the bottom of the screen in the blue highlight. Down in the bottom left there, the date says 3/8/2024. So that's 7 months ago. This home was originally listed for sale for $2.8 million. And each month over the last 7 months, they have done a price reduction. You could see just above 2.75, 2.725, 2.65, and the list goes on and on until we finally get to the top there, where the current list price right now is $2 million. So take a look up here in the top left where it says estimated market value. Zillow has this home estimated at $1,894,000. So even Zillow thinks that this home is still $100,000 overpriced from where the sellers have it. So let's just stop and think about this for a second. 7 months ago, if you were a luxury buyer, you would have likely paid close to the original list price if you paid what the seller wanted at $2.8 million. But the sellers most likely knew the home was overpriced and they were just trying to find a naive luxury buyer. And now they're getting a reality check because this home has been reduced now $800,000 and it's still overpriced in the estimate of Zillow. And this is what I keep talking to you guys about. Whether you're a luxury buyer or an average price point buyer, as you're about to see, there are a lot of price reductions happening because sellers are delusional in these original list prices. And if you're a buyer and you're patient, this is what's likely going to continue to happen. We're going to see more price reductions like this. All right, so let's take a look at this second example of another Las Vegas home for sale that's been reduced in price. Take a look on the left side of the screen. Now we're definitely coming down in price. You can see on the left side, this home is currently listed at $750,000, but you can see just above it in that small red text, it says price cut $45,000 that happened right at the very beginning of October. So this is a price reduction, but it's not the full price reduction as you're about to see. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, nearly 2,900 square foot home, but I want to again show you down below where the original price point was compared to this price point right now. All right, so again, take a look at the bottom of the screen in the blue highlight. Down in the bottom left there, the date says 7/19/2024. So this is about 3 months ago where this home was originally listed for sale for $825,000. They couldn't find a buyer, so they reduced the price down to $800,000 in August, still couldn't find a buyer. Then they did a very small reduction in September, only $5,000. Again, no buyer. And now the current list price, you can see right at the top there in the yellow highlight, $750,000. So take a look in the top left right there where it says estimated market value. Zillow has this home estimated at about $729,000. So even Zillow still thinks this home is about $20,000 overpriced from where the sellers have it right now. But let's just stop and rewind the clock for a second. If we take a look again down in the blue highlight, that's where the original list price was on the bottom right there at $825,000. So if you bought this home 3 months ago, That's what the sellers wanted, and now the sellers are getting a reality check, realizing that the home is really not worth $825. It's really closer to about $725, which is a $100,000 reduction likely that you would get this home for if you were looking to buy this home right now. So that's why I keep telling you guys, patience is the prudent play on a lot of homes here, because there are so many sellers that are far too aggressive on the original list price, and that's not the true value point. So if you're patient and you do your due diligence, the likelihood is you're going to get a much better deal if you wait on these sellers to reduce these home prices, because this is happening across all different price points here in the Las Vegas real estate market. All right, so now let's take a look at this third example of another Las Vegas home for sale, getting much closer now to the median price point, which again in the Las Vegas real estate market is about $475,000. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed for $580,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,900 square foot home. But again, down below, you're about to see a very dramatic price reduction from this seller. All right, so again, take a look down at the bottom of the screen in the blue highlight. Down in the bottom left there, the date says 6/12/2024. So that's about 4 months ago, where this home was originally listed for sale for $689,000. The seller could not find a buyer. They waited about 3 months, and they did a very dramatic price reduction to the current list price now of $580,000. So this is another perfect example of where patience pays off, because 4 months ago, if you were trying to buy this home, you would have been likely paying close to the original list price of $689,000. This was not the true value point. The seller now knows this. They've reduced the home almost $110,000, and they still can't find a buyer because, again, the home is still overpriced. And if you're patient, in a lot of instances here in the Las Vegas real estate market, these reductions are happening across all different price points because, again, there's too much overpricing going on here. And thankfully, a lot of buyers are wising up and not paying these original list prices. All right, so let's look at this fourth and final example of another Las Vegas home for sale, definitely getting down closer to the median price point, which here in the Las Vegas real estate market, again, is about $475,000. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed at $508,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot home. But again, down below, I want to show you the original list price on this home, because this home has been on the market for over a year and still hasn't sold. All right, so again, focus your attention down at the bottom of the screen. Take a look in the blue highlight down there in the bottom left. We're going to go all the way back to 2015. You can see the date there where this home was originally sold for $240,000. Now we take a look 8 years later, and the seller has listed the home about a year ago at $595,000. They have not been able to find a buyer. They've gone through a lot of price reductions. When we go all the way up here to the top, when we scroll up to the top here, you can see in the yellow highlight, that's the current list price at $508,000. Now again, if we look at the top left here and we see the estimated market value, Zillow has the home estimated at $493,000. So Zillow still thinks this home is about $15,000 overpriced. But again, let's just stop and think about this for a second. About 8 or 9 years ago, when this home was originally sold for $240,000, the sellers now are trying to make basically double of their money from when they bought it about 8 years ago. Now, even if they sell this home for, let's say, for $490,000 or $500,000, this is still about a $90,000 to $100,000 price reduction, even though the sellers are still going to make out handsomely because they bought the home for $240,000. But again, if you're a buyer in this market, that doesn't mean you pay the original list price from the seller, because the seller, of course, they're naturally greedy. They want to get as much money as they can, but they listed this home for almost $600,000, but it's really worth about $500,000. So again, do not pay the original list price if you don't have to from a seller, because they in all likelihood are still going to make a very handsome profit. So as you just saw, there's a lot of price reductions already happening here in the city of Las Vegas, and I'm sure this is happening in other markets across the country because, again, inventory is increasing massively across the country. But what I want to do is I want to paint a very clear picture for you guys, which a lot of people are probably not calculating, into why I think housing inventory is only going to increase and home prices are going to only decrease as we go through the rest of this year and into 2025. So take a look at this graphic right next to me. At the very top, you can see it says aggressive interest rate cuts, which the Fed just did. That means mortgage rates over the next few months are going to start to come down, which means more home sellers are going to be willing to sell their home, because when they do buy another home, they're going to be able to buy into that home at a lower mortgage rate. This ultimately means more inventory is going to hit the market. Another thing a lot of people are not recognizing is this. There's been 130,000 people laid off from the tech sector this year, which means those people who earn a very good income can no longer buy a home because they're not employed, which ultimately means less buyers will qualify. So if we have more inventory and less buyers qualifying and ultimately less demand, we are going to see home prices come down throughout the country. So before we end today's video, I just want to give a shout out to my favorite comment from last week's video, and that goes to Aiden. I'm going to put his comments up here on full screen and read it to you, which is actually pretty shocking, and then I'm going to come back on the other side and comment on it. So he wrote, there's a home in my area that was listed for $1,375,000 4 months ago. It's still there even after cutting the price by $300,000. Now its listing price is $1,075,000 and no buyers. This is in Escondido, California, San Diego County. So this is just one of many comments that came in from my video from last week from people all over the country showing price reductions happening now in their local real estate market. And even in very popular areas of the country like San Diego, California, if homes are not priced properly, they are going to sit on the market because the real estate landscape is shifting. And I want to hear from you guys. I want to follow up on this. I want you to drop me a comment. I read and respond to all of my comments. I want to know in your local real estate market if you're starting to see those kind of price reductions, or if you own a home, I want to hear how much your home has gone up over the last several years or several decades if you owned it long term. And my favorite comment from this week's video, I'm going to give a direct on-screen shout out to in next week's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I also hope you appreciate my transparency. You know that I'm always going to keep it 100% real on this channel regarding the economy and the real estate market. Now, here's the deal, guys. I don't want to be an alarmist, but there really is a lot of terrifying news out there. But the most terrifying, in my opinion, is when our own government and legacy media companies continue to gaslight the public and tell us that the economy is great, people have a lot of savings, the unemployment levels are low. This is all nonsense because the Fed just did an aggressive interest rate cut just last month. They do not do aggressive interest rate cuts if everything is A-okay. That's why, especially when it comes to high-ticket items like buying a home right now, I would sit on the sidelines and continue to be patient as we go through the rest of this year, especially with the presidential election coming up. I think there's going to be economic turmoil, especially as we get into 2025. And I know everybody's circumstances are different. Some people can wait it out and possibly wait for that correction. Other people are looking to buy a home right now. If you are thinking about buying a home, in my opinion, number one, of course, I would be patient. I wouldn't do anything right now. But number two, if you are thinking about buying now, I would put in a lowball offer and look at homes that have gone through a series of price reductions because you know those sellers are motivated. Now, if you're looking to buy a home, especially here in the Las Vegas real estate market, when that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. I'm a real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I've definitely got your back if you're thinking about buying a home here. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you guys in the next video.